It's time to down tools for a bit. Welcome to the ToolShed, the influential podcast for anyone and everyone involved in the building industry. Here's your host, Mick Hawes.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the ToolShed Podcast. If this is your first time seeing the ToolShed, what we're endeavouring to do with the podcast is to find tools and resources and platforms and ideas and philosophies, anything that's going to make a builder's life running their building business more successful, less stressful. And so that's what we're always looking for. On this episode, I'm going to be speaking to Luke Shipley, and a little bit different. Like we haven't normally talked about what you can put in your mouth that's going to help, but we're going to this time. So I'm going to discover as we go along, because I've only just met Luke, don't know a whole lot about Boost, which is the product, but we're going to find out. So Luke, welcome to the podcast. You're obviously sitting outside on a newly acquired farm, I'm assuming. You've got the trademark shirt on. It's all happening. Whereabouts are you?
G'day, Mick. Good. I'm in New South Wales, a little place called Round Mountain. So we're about 5 minutes from the beach and sitting on 30 lovely acres here. Prime position, and beautiful land with horses and some bush as well. So I'm just enjoying in the new change.
Fantastic. We were just saying before we pressed the go button that we've just moved our offices. You've just moved onto a new property. It's all happening. And so we're going to hear the story of Boost, Fuel for Tradies. So just to get started, can you give us a little bit of background, how you got involved in the building industry, and more particularly where you saw a need, where you saw an issue or challenges that caused you to look for a solution, which eventually became Boost?
Okay, yeah, so my relationship with the building industry started probably when I was 15, really. So actually 46 today. It's my birthday today.
Happy birthday.
We're looking at nearly 30 years full time in the construction industry. So starting in domestic and with friends, fathers, that sort of thing, and then moving into I did apprenticeship in cabinet making, and then from there moved into sort of commercial, and then into the crane industry for about 12 years, and back into the commercial joinery side of things now. And so over that time, what I have seen, what I've experienced with myself is experienced about 13, 14 years ago, a period of complete burnout, physical and mental burnout. And that's something that I've just seen many people in the industry go through over those 30 years, but more so just the accumulated stress and burnout that happens with life on the tools, and the toll, the physical, mental toll it takes on people that are within the industry. So through my own experience of that burnout, it's forced me to look at how I was living my life. It forced me to seek changes that were beneficial for me, and were a move away from the traditional sort of stereotypical things of having a beer and smashing a coffee just to get through the day, and then having a beer at the end of the day to unwind. So that path and that journey has led me down the path of yoga, meditation, and more importantly, which is more involved with this product, is herbal medicine and medicinal mushrooms to help fuel my body, and also help regulate my nervous system and my adrenal system. So that's been a culmination of two products that I've come up with that I've personally used over the last 10 years that have to great advantage. Allowed me to quit coffee, quit alcohol, probably added years to my life. Certainly feel younger and more vibrant than I ever have before. And yeah, it's something that I've been able to turn other tradespeople and business owners onto, and have seen huge effect in their lives. So
Yeah.
something very positive.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. We're always trying to bring you information that's going to make your life as a builder much easier. So give us a thumbs up and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode.
And meaningful.
Yeah. I'm glad that you started to talk about the coffee, the alcohol, the yoga, you know, all that sort of stuff, because the last thing that we want to do on the podcast is to say here's a magic pill. You can still live the life of all of these poor lifestyle decisions, and you pop a pill and it's all okay. You know, I've seen people do that. They this pill helps me absorb fat, or so I don't get overweight. So I take that, but then I smash 5 Kit Kats and half a jug of Coke or something. And it's like, we've got to understand that prevention is better than the cure. So we'll talk about that in a minute, because like the prevention is super important, and I'd love to get your experience and your thoughts on the things that have worked for you. But where did you discover Boost? And you mentioned medicinal mushrooms also, which I'm not aware of. But firstly, how did you discover Boost? Where did that come from?
So the idea came to me earlier this year, just in a period I took 6 months off work. I just was in a space where we'd sold our house, we'd moved interstate. Was just in a good position where I was able to take some time off. So just fleshing out ideas. So over the past, probably 5-6 years, I've been able to turn a lot of people onto these herbs. They're herbs, and they're essentially got a proven track record of thousands of years. So they're essentially Chinese herbs, and they've been used widely within Chinese medicine and greater and Ayurvedic medicine for thousands of years. And they're well known within those cultures for their energetic properties. One formula has two herbs in it that are particularly good for athletes and people uh, people that work in industry. Oh, sorry, for athletes and people in high stress or strenuous situations. They've been proven over the years. And also another ingredient in that is L-theanine, which is the part of green tea which gives you the calming effect, but also is positive for focus. So how I came up with that was essentially trial and error for myself over 10 years, and just working out what gave me the best bang for buck and what really moved the needle the most, and what was most suitable for the work that I was doing. So essentially, being on the tools, being in the crane industry at the period of time when I did start taking these and researching these herbs, I needed something that was going to switch me on, help switch me on quick, allow me to remain calm in stressful situations, and allow me to remain focused over long periods of time. So I was a coffee drinker for 20 odd years. Coffee really did the trick and got me going. But what I found, the longer I drank coffee, the less of an effect it had, and the more coffee I needed to drink to actually get the same effect.
Yeah.
So in finding these herbs, they gave me the ability to focus for longer periods of time, not have the crash and the come down that I was used to with getting with coffee. And also the beautiful part of the herbs that are in both formulas is that they're actually regenerative for your kidneys and your organ system. So whereas coffee and caffeine will essentially slowly and continually drain your adrenal system and place tax on your kidneys, these herbs will come in and actually replenish your kidneys, which is in Chinese medicine is essentially your vital energy source. Um, and over years of physical stressful work and also years of caffeine use, the kidneys are the first thing to start to get drained. And as they get drained, they then start to borrow energy from other organs. And as they borrow energy from other organs, that's when we start to find you get health problems associated with prolonged stressful periods of work.
Yep. So, what's going through my mind is the chicken or the egg scenario, as far as there are, I just see tradies walking down the street first thing of a morning, smashing a Red Bull or something, and I just shake my head. The damage that I believe that it's doing. But you said that the herbs allowed you to sort of get off the coffee and, be able to change things. Do you find that the herbs are helpful to you for you to be able to change those decisions versus, I just need to stop all that, then take the herbs? Like which do you find you need to do first? Which chicken or the egg?
Best, the best, by far the best is to incorporate them in first. They work hand in hand essentially with coffee really, whereas a coffee will, slowly, the way coffee or caffeine works is to stimulate your adrenal glands, and that'll pump out cortisol and adrenaline, and that's where we get the boost of energy from. But as we get older, those stocks aren't replenished. So what the herbs do is actually replenish the kidneys, which is producing the adrenaline and the cortisol. But essentially they're replenishing the adrenal glands and the kidneys. So we're able to keep tapping into that. So initially, using or consuming these herbs or these formulas with coffee is a perfect solution. It really, you get you still get the boost that you normally get from a coffee. So that really instant sort of effect. And even though the herbs work quite quickly, they also help prolong the period of where you can maintain the focus and where because they're coming in underneath and regenerating and replenishing at the same time, you'll find your energy stores and your energy reserves will build up over time and will be sustained longer throughout the day. So essentially in that respect, they work hand in hand. And, over a period of months, it's when you really feel the difference. And so over those months, I found for myself anyways, I found after a couple of months, it's like, oh, my energy reserves are far greater than they have been and far greater than they've been in decades. And it made me think, oh, can I do without the coffee? Because the coffee was probably the final piece in the puzzle for me for the anxiety that I lived with over the period of time. It's something that I knew I wanted to stop, but I just was so reliant on it. I had no way of stopping. So in that respect, they really helped wean me off the coffee. But at the start, they really work hand in hand.
Mm.
And it's not something where it's like stop this, take that. It's really something that helps to it's beneficial to start working them in, and then you get to really feel the change over a period of months. And then once you start to feel that change, if that's your goal to stop caffeine out of your life, or stop the energy drinks, well then that's what they're designed to do.
Mm. Yeah.
And once our internal organs and our systems are running better, then we've got constant stores of energy. We're able to tap into that without having to resort to energy drinks and use the sugar and the caffeine to get us through the day.
Yeah. And I know how addictive coffee can be. I mean, in my, I guess, mid-20s or something like that, I was absolutely smashing the coffee and just decided to go cold turkey. And I don't think it could have been any worse getting off heroin. Like it was painful. My whole body was aching. I couldn't move for like 2 days and shivering and cold, and it was just absolutely awful. I'm really interested in the other things that you mentioned as far as yoga, meditation, I believe you mentioned. Tell me how you discovered that and started to integrate it, and what did you notice when you started to implement this sort of stuff? Because there'd be a ton of tradies listening, you know, I'm not interested in that shit, or you don't need that bullshit, and you know. But I know a heap of tradies that have started meditation. Not a whole lot that have done yoga, but I mean, it's got to be valuable when you're whether you are stuck in your chair and behind a computer screen all day, or whether you're out on site swinging a hammer and lifting heavy things and moving things around, either way, yoga has to be fantastic for your body, and meditation has to be fantastic for your mind. What's been your experience? I'm Mick Hawes from Builder's Business Black Belt. There's one roadblock in your business that, when identified and fixed, a whole bunch of other frustrating problems will disappear at the same time. So much time, effort, and money is thrown at problems in an attempt to fix them that often doesn't fix the problem and just leads to more frustration. And if this cycle continues, it increases stress and just makes running your own business an unenjoyable pain in the ass. And it doesn't have to be that way. Being a business owner can give you more time and financial freedom, and it can be super rewarding if you do it right. The key is to find your unique roadblock, which you're often too close to the action to see yourself. How do I know this? I've been working in peak performance and business coaching for over 3 decades, and with builders specifically for over 10 years, and I see it every day. So I encourage you to take the Builder's Success Scorecard right now. The link to take the scorecard is in the description. It's free. It'll take you about 90 seconds, and you'll have some quality feedback in your inbox before you know it.
My experience on both it's been life-changing, to be honest with you. It's something I've, worked at over 10 years now of a daily practice. But it was, I spoke with it was a male yoga teacher a few years ago at a podcast on meditation, and he'd been doing yoga for 4 or 5 years, and he never meditated. And his meditation teacher said to him, he said, yoga without meditation is like preparing a delicious meal, setting it all, laying out the table, and then getting up and walking away, not eating the meal. And meditation without yoga is like just sitting at a table, beautifully prepared with no meal, nothing to eat. So they go hand in hand. In that yogic philosophy, it's a complete system, it's a complete way of living life. It extends beyond just the physical asana practice and the meditation. There's 8 limbs to yoga, but 2 of the limbs are the asana practice, which is the physical, the movement practice, and the meditation as well. So for me, it started with just a really simple practice. I needed to work on my back. I had a constant, I bulged a few discs when I was about 25, and I lived with that for about 10 years of them constantly popping out, probably 3 times a year. Went to see physio and did all the things, but never stuck to it. So it continued to happen, and I just got to a certain point in life where I'd had enough. And so I looked up what poses I was being given from the physio, and they essentially were yoga poses. So I thought, right, tomorrow I'll start tomorrow. I'll run through. Basically what it was 5 minutes of yoga poses and 5 minutes of meditation. I think I did the 5 minutes of yoga, and I think I lasted for 2 minutes of meditation on the first day. Gave myself a pat on the back, told myself I didn't need to do it the next day, but I got up and did it. But so the the benefits for tradies in particular is spending most of our days in physical work with muscles clenched. We're quite often in static poses, climbing ladders, holding tools, that sort of thing. Your muscles become quite tight and tense. The benefits of the yoga, the asana practice for me was just giving myself that time to be able to stretch out and to allow the muscles to stretch. So, the term yoga puts a lot of guys off. At the end of the day, all it is just stretching.
Mm.
There's here we've got a tradition that has probably a couple of hundred different stretches designed to help release tension and pain from the body, and designed to help strengthen the body at the same time. Why not use it? And it's perfect for the trades, because we do spend so much time relying on our body. So what I found initially was I found my body just moving a lot freer. Certainly found myself a lot calmer, and found myself stressing out a lot less. Now, initially I thought that was just the yoga itself, and I thought, I thought it was the meditation itself. I thought, the meditation is doing all the work, but the years of research that I've done have pointed to sort of both working hand in hand. But what you're finding with the yoga and the stretching is that the chemicals that are produced throughout the day, especially in long periods of physical exercise, like chemicals like cortisol, they're the stress chemicals. They get produced throughout the day just to keep us going and help us keep running. And we've all heard the term, after long periods of work, we're just running on adrenaline. You know what I mean? Like we know that feeling. Well, those chemicals stay in the body. They gradually will be transformed by the body and moved on, but they have essentially like a half-life of anything. So, once a stressful situation or a period of stress on the body happens, these chemicals are produced, but they don't just dissolve instantly. So they'll hang around for a period of day. And if we have another stressful incident, they'll get produced again. Like the levels will continue to rise throughout the day. And so what the yoga does, it allows the muscles to release all the toxins within them that are built up throughout the day. I do it in the morning, so I do a stretch at night as well, so I help release that, and the body can then it helps me sleep, and then the body helps process those chemicals and those hormones throughout the night. But in the morning, it's releasing the muscles to be ready for the day. So what I found over a period of time was that I was far calmer, I was far less stressed, my body felt far better, and my mind, due to the fact that I wasn't running on or having high levels of cortisol and adrenaline pumping through my body, was able to think a lot clearer, and I was able to find myself, get myself into a calmer place a lot quicker. So, and the two just work hand in hand for me. So I always advocate for doing both.
Yeah. It's fascinating stuff, stuff that you wouldn't normally expect to be put in front of builders and tradespeople. Like it's stuff that we know that a lot of our black belt members do, meditation. I don't know that a whole lot of them do yoga, but what you just said there makes complete sense. That it's these two things can work to help each other become more effective when you use them together. So it makes a lot of sense. What's the best way for someone to get in contact with you if they want to know more about this, if they want to talk to you about the Boost herbs and things like that to help them sort of get rid of the the constant stress. I mean, just before you answer that, what was going through my mind is you just know so many people who you say that, you get in a stressful situation and it creates the cortisol and it stays there for a while. And then if you get into another stressful situation, and I just couldn't help thinking there's probably for most guys, there's not a gap in between the stressful situations. It's just this one long period of stress and constant production of cortisol. It's like, we've got to get the foot in the door somewhere and put a break, take a break and allow yourself and your body to sort of clean itself up. And it's like this self-perpetuating value cycle. I think that if you can do that just a little bit and your mind gets a little bit clearer, then there will be less stress, and then you continue to do it, and you'll make better decisions, and your mind will be clearer, and there'll be less stress, and it's this upward spiral direction. So that was just me going off script completely, but someone listening to this, what's the best way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, well, that's actually a pretty good analogy, because that's been my experience of it as well. So and that's the other formula that we've got is one for the afternoon. So that's in place of knocking back 4 or 5 beers. It'll have the same effect as 4 or 5 beers, but you won't have the negative health effects with it. So anyone getting in contact, just social media. I'm on Facebook and it's Boost Fuel for Tradies on Facebook and Instagram. We're sort of in the initial periods, soft launch stage of the website. The website's up and running, and by the time this goes to air, it should be back in action.
Yeah.
And so reach out on either of those, either through the website or either of the channels, Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, just hit me up if you want to know any more information about yoga and meditation. And the other thing too that came to me while you were mentioning that spiral is the other parts of the yoga and meditation. There's another one of the other limbs is pranayama, which is breathing techniques, which there's 10 or 15 short, simple breathing techniques that can be done just to provide that gap in that spiral, which will help reset your nervous system and help put you back into a parasympathetic state where you can make those clear decisions and have the ability to calm yourself down. So
and I think that the challenge there is to have the space to be able to make the choice to do the breathing, or to ensure that you block the time for the yoga and the meditation and things like that. I know that chatting to one of our black belt members this morning on our normal Monday morning call, and one of them's like really got a bad debilitating back pain just at the moment, and we've had people come in and teach them a technique called emotional freedom technique, which is just like an energy technique or what have you, which is wonderful for physical pain and obviously emotional challenges and all of that sort of stuff. And he was telling me about it in today's session. I said, well, like there's probably a bunch of contributing factors to this, but one of them would be the emotional side of things and how frustrated you are right now with the back pain. Have you tried EFT? And he goes, no, I forgot about that. And it's like they know about it, but they don't do it. So it's really important to be connected with somebody that continually reminds you of implementing things like the yoga, like the meditation, like the breathing techniques. And the guys know that work as well. We've had people teach them, box breathing and the old, SEAL team breathing to slow the heart rate down and all that sort of stuff. And they go, this is amazing, and then go away and get super stressed and forget about it all.
Forget about it, yeah. And that's the main thing too. It's the consistency there, and really finding some benefit for me anyway. Finding some immediate benefit, just knowing, okay, this is what I need to stick to, and but making it simple, really making these things simple. People think it's got to be 20 minutes of meditation, an hour yoga. It's like you can do 5 and 5 and commit to that for a week, and especially with things like box breathing, that sort of thing, if you can, set yourself a task, a reminder to to commit to these things for a week, then they're a hell of a lot easier to integrate, into life. So
Yeah, fantastic. We will make sure that we put all of the social links in the description so people won't have to go searching for it. So we'll have the Facebook and the Instagram and the website all in the description so people can just click away to get in contact with you. But fascinating stuff. Thank you very much for being on the podcast. It's been terrific.
Yeah, good on you, Mick. Appreciate it, mate. And thanks for giving time to these sorts of practices. I'd love to see more trade people get involved and see the benefit from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what we're here to do with this podcast is to I mean, we don't necessarily want to be seen to be promoting this, that, and the other. We just want to create awareness so people can go check it out, make their own decisions, and take it from there. They don't know what they don't know. So if we can make people aware of what's out there and, some anecdotal evidence to get them enthusiastic to try things and explore things, I think we're doing our job. So, again, appreciate you putting the time aside to being on the podcast.
Yep. Good on you, Mick. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. So that's it for this episode. Fascinating stuff. Don't know how many conversations that I've had over my journey with tradies, builders, talking about their body. And, I don't think I can do this too much longer and my body's falling to pieces. And it's like the same happens with your car. If you just keep driving it around and around the track and you don't stop for a pit stop, it's going to stop at some stage. It's going to fall apart. It's not going to be a fast car. So we've got to look after ourselves. We've got to stop doing some things. We've got to start doing some things. And as I'm experiencing at the age of 63 currently, I can't do what I used to do at 23, even at 53. So you've got to work harder at staying flexible and staying strong and doing all of these things. So it's a fascinating topic, and I'd love you to reach out and have a conversation, implement some of these ideas and see what impact it has on you. But as I said, that's it for this podcast. We shall be back with another podcast before you know it. I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt. That is all. I'm out. Bye for now.
You've been listening to The ToolShed. If this podcast struck a chord with you, make sure you spread the word by sharing it with your mates in the building industry. We love your help to make the building industry better for everyone involved.